We're recording, everyone's here. Alright, the Lake County Board of Health will now conduct a public hearing. This statement I am reading shall be incorporated into and made part of the record on these proceedings. The Board of Health has jurisdiction to conduct 3 public hearings on variance applications under section 1.9 of Lake County on-site wastewater treatment system regulations. The purpose of these hearings is to consider whether the variance applications should be approved. In considering that matter, the Board of Health will address the criteria in section 43.4N of Colorado Regulations number 43 and section 1.9 of the Lake County on-site wastewater treatment regulations. The procedure to be followed for each of the hearings will be as follows. 1. Members of the board will disclose any ex parte communications. 2. County staff will make an initial presentation. 3. The applicant may then make their presentation. 4. After that, any other persons either supporting or opposing the applications may present evidence. Such presentations shall be limited to 3 minutes. Supporting and opposing witnesses may be questioned by the board. Once questioning is concluded, no further questioning is permitted unless granted by the chair. The applicant may then present any rebuttal evidence. The parties and witnesses are asked not to submit redundant, irrelevant, or cumulative evidence. If someone has already made the point that you wish to make, simply say so. The chair will also require that all comments be made to the board and that there be no dialogue between the applicant and members of the audience. At the conclusion of the evidentiary portion of the hearing, the chair will entertain a motion to close the evidentiary portion of the hearing, and the board will discuss and weigh the evidence. Then there will be a motion to close the discussion phase of the public hearing. The chair of the Board of Health will entertain a motion on the application. The motion may take the form of one of the following recommendations. 1. Approve the application with no conditions. 2. Approve the application with the recommended conditions. 3. Approve the application with newly identified conditions. Or 4. Deny the application. The environmental health specialist shall make a record of any substantial discussion on the motion and include that in the record. The board's decision will be in the form of an official action record. Are there any objections to the jurisdiction of the board or to the form or substance of these proceedings? Hearing none, I will now ask each Board of Health member if you have any ex parte communications to disclose, and if so, please disclose them now.
I have none.
I have none.
Alright, I have none. County staff may now make their initial presentation.
Wait, you need to share it first, so minimize it for a minute.
I did
Go to
not.
Zoom.
Let's do that. Just go back to the, yeah, there you go.
Somewhere I have an agenda so I could say which one we have up first.
It is up on the screen, but
Okay,
Yeah,
pull it
you
up.
know, Torsten's presentation, I'll start with which one?
We're gonna start with 2700 County Road 6B, parcel number 2747-040-00-026, applicant Carter Shaver. A building permit was issued in 2002 for permission to construct a 2-story single-family dwelling with a basement and deck. The improvements were constructed in the early 2000s, though no certificate of occupancy was issued. The parcel was sold to the current owners in July of 2024. The new owners are pursuing the issuance of a CO to run a commercial group camp with a maximum occupancy of 8 persons for no more than 90 days consecutively or 180 days per calendar year. Together with zoning and building compliance, the structure requires a variance for alternative sanitary waste method approved by the Board of Health. Next slide, please. I'm just gonna give a slight overview here. The property, as you saw there on the last screen, is located on County Road 6B. It's just on the other side of Empire Hill. You can see here with their engineer designs as per Lake County regulations, this is gonna be the existing structure that they already has a composting toilet at, and they're gonna add a 1,500 gallon vault storage tank.
Can you, Torsten, do you mind just clicking that top little one? It's like a bar. Yeah, thank you.
Move on to prohibitions for granting variances according to Colorado Regulation 43.4N. Section A, no variance shall be issued where a property can accommodate a conforming OWTS system. Staff found that a conforming system would require reasonable access for installing it. The access to this property via either County Road 6B or County Road 6B would require a high clearance 4x4 vehicle. Both of these roads are unmaintained county access road with multiple points of constraint. The access to the property significantly limits the ability of conforming OWTS to be installed. We'll skip ahead to section C here. No variance shall be allowed for solely economic gain. Staff found the property is to be used for a commercial group camp with an occupancy of 8 persons. The property does have a well installed, which you can see the location of the existing well right there. However, it does not have access to electric utilities to run the well. Further, the location of the well on the northern portion of the property, while the structure is further south and is on a considerable slope. The property has limited access by unmaintained county roads and is unable to install electric utilities to run the well. This is the basis of the request and is not based upon economic reasons. And staff found the rest of the prohibitions to not be applicable to this property. We're gonna move down to the composting toilet standards on the bottom of page 2 there. Again, like I said, they'll be using an existing composting toilet, the Sunmar Centrix 3000 here. The model is NSF and ANSI standard 41 certified. The manufacturer rates the toilet's composting capacity for 9 adults or a family of 11 for weekend and vacation use. The power supply to the toilet will come from a 12-volt battery that will be monitored weekly and charged when necessary. It is community planning and development's belief that the existing composting toilet meets the requirements of the regulations and does not pose any risk to public or environmental health. Moving to staff response here. With the above in mind, community planning and development is requiring that an OWTS to be installed to treat all wastewater remaining after removal of toilet waste. As the property does not have running water, the only additional wastewater generated by the structure would be what is hauled in and used for hand and dishwashing in a bathroom and kitchen sink. The wastewater will be plumbed and directed into the vault tank. After discussion with the applicant and engineer, it was decided to plan for a larger tank to account for the possibility that the full occupancy is used in a 90-day period. The tank is intended to be used as a vault to hold all non-toilet wastewater until such time that it's 75% full. The float valve for the vault tank will be powered by a 12-volt battery and monitored weekly. The owners intend to pump the tank quarterly or when the tank reaches 75% full. This will be done using a 4x4 vehicle with a high flow pump and tank in the bed. The waste produced by the Sunmar Centric composting toilet is non-hazardous and can be disposed of at a landfill. As the non-toilet wastewater generated by the property will be minimal due to it being hauled in, accessibility, and lack of water utility, staff suggests the proposed tank of 1,500 gallons is appropriate and meets the occupancy calculation of 2 gallons per person per day. Further, the wastewater being held and transported is non-hazardous. The risk to the public and environmental health would be considered minimal and not basis for denial. On the last page, we'll have staff recommendation as well as the suggested motions there. The application details how the property has been in existence for the last 20 years, with the issuance of the original building permit in 2002, but no certificate of occupancy completed. As the primary access is 2 unmaintained county roads, the property does not have reasonable access for anything other than a high clearance 4x4. The property does have an existing well that was drilled in 2002, but was never put into service and is without electric utility. The location of the structure is inaccessible for heavy equipment due to the slope of the property. In addition, the existing access is further limited by privately owned mining claims, rendering it unrealistic to expect road improvement to allow equipment access. The applicant has satisfied all notification requirements, and staff has not received any comment from adjacent landowners in regards to this application. Staff believes the applicant has successfully shown compliance with state and local variance regulations and has established the basis for alternative system for commercial group camp structure. Staff recommends approval of the variance. Next, we'll go into questions.
Alright, does anyone on the board have any questions for staff?
No.
Is there a way to use a hand pump with that well? How deep, do you know how deep it is?
It's 230 feet deep, so no,
Yeah.
not easily.
And the slope is way too steep for a absorption field.
Oh, yeah, certainly. Yeah, it would require quite a bit of benching,
Yeah.
which is antithetical to what we wanna do for the backcountry, so we wanna try to minimize that disturbance as much as possible. And the slope of the location of the house and the structure, which is dictating where that septic or the bulk needs to go, would be pretty massive benching, which I don't think that we wanna do in the backcountry.
Cool. So you found someone to come up there and pump it. He's got a 4-wheel drive. Is he
Yeah, the
certified?
Leadville backcountry yurts,
Oh,
they use the Honeydew, which is a small truck with a pump
okay.
in the back of it. They can get up to the yurts, and so they could probably access ours as well.
Mhm.
In the meantime, my background is actually engineering, and so hydraulic engineering and petroleum, oil and gas industry, so pretty capable of designing my own pump and tank system to be able to pump that remotely as well, so.
Okay. No further questions from me?
Perfect. Did you want to add anything else, Jason?
Covered
Sorry.
Other than that, I thought you did a good job covering all the points that we have discussed, and thanks for working with me to get everything included, so.
Absolutely. And I think, Anne, you suggested leaving all of the deliberations and decisions to the end after these presentations?
Actually, you and I had talked about that, so whatever you would like to do, if you'd like to act on each one of these wells individually, or you can hold your deliberations to the end and do all 3 at once, one right after the other, but certainly up to you. If you'd like to just, actually, as I was going through it, I thought maybe it'd be easier if you just did them, individually.
And you would prefer that the chair make the motion? That's what it said in the open statements.
The chair will entertain a motion.
Entertain, thank you.
I have a question for staff, and this is because I'm relatively new at this, so I just wanna be extra clear. No variance shall be allowed solely for economic gain. Is something that has been stated, and the property is to be used for a commercial group camp. But it is also stated that the basis of the request is not based on economic reasons. That doesn't line up in my head, but I could be misinterpreting. Could you elaborate a little bit on that for me?
So the main basis of the request is the lack of access and lack of ability to make a conforming system there. It's not economic reasons as to why you can't put it in there, it's the fact that you can't get heavy equipment in there, you can't get it down on the slope. Like Carter was saying, it would take a lot of benching on a pretty
Yeah.
considerable slope to get the conforming OWTS in there.
It's not that it's too expensive. It's that it's not possible or desired.
And the finding suggests that it's solely, that's the basis of why, coming in and it being the sole reason is for the fact that it would be cheaper to go with an alternative system than putting out the low WTS. And so the person suggesting that the evidence shows that that's not the sole basis of this ask. So the specific wording of it is that it is for more than, it's not, there is going to be, obviously, as a group camp, a financial benefit. This is a commercial operation, but it is not the sole benefit
Okay,
of the variance.
it's because of how gnarly it is to drive in and out of there with heavy equipment, not because, oh, well, I'm gonna save some money by doing it this way. It's
Exactly.
Kinda, okay, cool, thank you for clarifying that.
And
Alright,
Can you
okay,
entertain a motion, Chair?
I think, are we skipping applicant presentation?
You got anything to add other
Okay.
than, we've been working with Dan to get this property into a conforming status for the last probably 18 months, something like that. When it became, a possible reality that we purchased this property, and we just got it last July. And so a lot of this is inherited, right? So we're trying to follow to get this thing into a conforming status with everybody. And so thanks, Ann, for working with us to get us to this point. This is a major step for us, and we'll, hopefully here in the next month, we'll go through the next process on the CUP as well. But yeah, thank you guys for entertaining this. Also, it seems like there's precedence in the county that this is the way that these sort of structures are moving forward on this self-contained tank that we can get pumped out. So I'm glad that we're not trying to scratch new areas here, and we're just trying to stick to what we've done in the past that seems to be successful.
Cool.
Alright, well, I'll make a motion to approve the variance request, a variance allowing the
Oh,
continued.
hold on, I think we gotta open public comment. Just for procedural sake.
Then close the public hearing,
Yeah,
Sorry.
2 people entered the waiting room, should
I'm
we
anxious.
make sure they are available before we open public comment?
You're in the Zoom already?
yeah, let's do it.
Just get them in, or hoping this is Jason. You only see,
Just click got it.
yeah, I only see, that's why I can't see, okay, good.
Okay. Alright, so, is there any public comment on the variance application for 2700 County Road 6B? If you're online, you can raise your hand, if you're in the room, you can raise your hand. Alright. I see no public comment, now I'll call for motion.
Motion to close public hearing
Oh,
first, sorry, I didn't have that written on there, sorry.
that is okay.
Move to close public hearing.
I'll second the motion.
To a vote?
Aye.
Aye, alright. And,
Try again. I will make a motion to approve the variance request, a variance allowing the continued use of the existing composting toilet and installation of a vault tank for gray water collection and off-site disposal for the property known as 2700 County Road 6B, parcel 2747-040-00-026 in Lake County, Colorado.
Seconded.
alright. Any board deliberation before we go to a vote?
No.
Alright, to a vote?
Aye.
Aye. Alright. So be it.
Thank you, guys. Carter, can we find some oil and gas in this county, please? preferably on county property.
We try, yeah,
There's no gas up here.
don't think so, no. Geology's not quite right.
Can you find some hot springs?
I was just going to ask that.
I'm with you on that.
Gee.
On county property?
You can find some,
Yeah, let's go.
for sure.
See me
Go
later.
deep enough. Alright, thank you, Carter.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
Alright, thank you, Torsten. Alright, moving on. Do I read the full script at each? No? That is
We
awesome.
were trying to get it so that you had to read it once.
Okay, moving on to the next.
Oh, sorry.
Which property do we have up next? I can probably pull
This
it up
is
on the,
7142 Silver King.
that's on next.
Correct.
Okay. Alright, let us hear about 7142 Silver King Group, parcel number 2747-044-00-030. Applicant Andrew Berger,
Perfect, if you're ready for me.
staff presentation. Has anyone on the board had any ex parte communications regarding this
No,
property?
no.
None myself. Alright, staff presentation, let it rip, Torsten.
Perfect. Again, this is gonna be for 7142 Silver King Group, applicant Andrew Berger. The Silver King, Silver Queen, Oklahoma, and Boulder Slide Lode mining claims, further referred to as the Silver King Group, is located on the east-facing slope of Empire Hill above Beaver Lakes Estate. There is an existing improvement of a 10 by 21 structure that was constructed in the early 2000s by the previous owners. The current owner purchased the property in September of 2019 and has made no additional improvements to the land or existing structure. The owner is seeking a backcountry permit and subsequent certificate of completion for the existing structure. The structure is intended for owner use only with no more than 90 days consecutive or 180 days per calendar year. The owner only intends to use the structure for short-term visits of 1 or 2 nights for less than 30 nights total per year. Again, kind of going with the composting toilet, gray water storage tank. This will be located in an outhouse structure away from the existing cabin. You can see the outhouse structure here. It will have a single hand wash basin in it. This will be the only source of gray water for the tank. We'll move into the prohibitions for granting a variance, section 43.4N. Section A, no variance shall be issued where the property can accommodate a conforming OWTS. Again, this would require reasonable access for installing a system. The access to this property is via a single lane unimproved 4x4 road that requires a high clearance 4x4. This road goes through both private and US Forest land and is currently, this goes through both US Forest and private land, significantly limiting the access to install a conforming OWTS. Can we go back to the last slide real quick? This, I don't know. Anyways, this road comes off of a dry Union Gulch. It goes up towards Empire Reservoir. It's the same road that goes up to the yurts, the Leadville Backcountry yurts up there.
Rowdy one.
Need to worry about it too much, but. We'll move on to section C, no variance shall be allowed for solely economic gain. This property is to be used for a private backcountry structure with temporary occupancy of 2 persons. It does not have a well or access to install a well. Access for a normal pumping truck or other heavy equipment is limited due to the road conditions. The property has limited access by unimproved roads through private land and is unable to install a well. This is the basis of the request, and it is not based upon solely economic reasons. And again, staff found the rest of the prohibitions to not be applicable to this property. So we'll move on to the composting toilet standards at the bottom of page 2. They're gonna be using a Sunmar XL NE. This model is NSF and ANSI standard 41 certified. The manufacturer rates the toilet's composting capacity for 5 adults or a family of 7 for weekend and vacation use. There are no electrical components on the XLNE, and it is designed to run without electricity. It is community planning and development's belief that the proposed composting toilet meets the requirements of the regulations and does not pose any risk to public or environmental health. And this is just a little blurb from the website stating it needs no electrical capacity connection. We'll move on to staff response here. With the above in mind, community planning and development is requiring that an OWTS to be installed to treat all wastewater remaining after removal of toilet waste. As the property does not have running water, the only additional wastewater generated by the structure would be what is hauled in for hand washing in the outhouse. The wastewater will be plumbed and directed into a vault tank. The vault tank, the size of the tank is 500 gallons and is the minimum required for vault storage tanks in Colorado. The tank is intended to be used as a vault to hold all non-toilet wastewater until such time that it is 75% full or yearly. With power being provided by a 12-volt battery that will be monitored and changes the power for the float valve in the vault tank. At which point the owners will pump it into a 4x4 truck-mounted storage tank or equivalent means and dispose of at an approved RV dump station. As the non-toilet wastewater generated by the property will be minimal due to backcountry use standards, accessibility, and lack of water utility, staff suggests the proposed vault tank of 500 gallons is appropriate and meets the intent of their variance standard for consideration. Further, the wastewater being held and transported is non-hazardous. The risk to the public health and environmental health would be considered minimal and not a basis for denial of that variance. Read the staff recommendation. The application details how the property has been in existence for the last 25 years. It was never issued a certificate of occupancy. As the primary access is an unimproved single-lane road heading towards Empire Reservoir, the property does not have reasonable access for anything other than a high-clearance 4x4 vehicle. The property does not have an existing well or access to a water utility, and the location is inaccessible for well drilling equipment. In addition, the existing access is further limited by privately owned and Forest Service land, rendering it unrealistic to expect road improvements to allow equipment access. The applicant has satisfied all notification requirements, and staff has not received any comment from adjacent landowners in regards to this application. Staff believes the applicant has successfully shown compliance with state and local variance regulations and has established the basis for an alternative system for temporarily occupied backcountry structure. Staff recommends approval for the variance. You'll see the motions on the bottom of page 4 as well.
Is there any questions for Torsten from the board?
None for me.
None for me, thank you.
Okay, is there anything the applicant would like to present regarding this property?
Just that I'm trying to get in compliance and get your blessing to be able to use it.
Alright, is there any questions for the applicant?
None.
None for me, thanks.
None from me. Is there any public comment from anyone online, anyone in the room? I see no hands being raised. Alright, I would call for a motion to close the evidentiary portion of the hearing.
I move to close the evidentiary portion of the meeting.
Alright,
Seconded.
do a vote?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, alright. Then call for a motion of either approval or denial.
I move to approve the variance request, a variance allowing the use of a composting toilet and installation of a vault tank for gray water collection and off-site disposal for the property known as 7142 Silver King Group, parcel number 274704400030 in Lake County, Colorado.
I will second the motion.
Do a vote?
Aye.
Aye. Alright, so be it.
Congratulations.
Alright, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for the thorough presenting, Torsten. Love it. Alright, moving
Thank you.
on. We have, up next, we got the Rose Hut.
This will actually be Shiloh. Rose Hut was the
Oh, sorry.
first one.
Oh boy.
For Mr. Weingas, I have a
Stacks next up,
It hasn't come to you yet.
coming in hot.
Thank you,
There.
thank you.
Thanks for joining us, Jason.
Alright, alright, they're joining us online. Does any of the board members need to disclose any ex parte communications?
None from me.
None from me.
Alright, let's go ahead with Torsten's staff presentation.
Perfect. So this is going to be for 3330 Shiloh, parcel number 247924400008. Applicant Jason Weingas and Megan Gilman. The Shiloh property will construct a single-family backcountry structure for temporary use of no more than 90 days consecutive, 180 days per year. It will be located on 10 acres of land near Tennessee Creek, just south of Ski Cooper. The owners bought the property in late 2024. No improvements have been made to the land prior to their purchase. Excuse me. The owners are pursuing issuance of a variance for a non-conforming OWTS system. They will use an incinerating toilet to dispose of solid waste, as well as using a vault tank to collect gray water from a single wash basin. This is just engineered designs of the property. I know it's a little hard to see here, but this will be the cabin. It's zoomed in here, and the vault tank on the northwest side of the property. They're gonna have an exterior bathroom on the southeast side of the property here that will hold the incinerating toilet. And those are the specs for the vault tank right there. We'll move on to the prohibitions for granting variance, section 43.4N. Section A, no variance shall be issued where a property can accommodate a conforming OWTS. This will require reasonable access for installing a system. The access to the property is either via Tennessee Creek Road from the south, which is narrow and requires high clearance 4x4, or through Ski Cooper's private property on the north end of Tennessee Creek. The road travels through both U.S. Forest Service and private land. The access to the property significantly limits the ability of a conforming OWTS to be installed. And we'll move to section C here. No variance shall be allowed for solely economic gain. This property is to be used for a private backcountry structure with temporary occupancy at 90 days consecutively or no more than 180 days in a year. It does not have a well or access to install a well. The property has limited access by unimproved roads through private and Forest Service land and is unable to install a well. This is the basis of the request, and it is not based upon solely economic reasons. Staff found the rest of the prohibitions to not be applicable to this property. We'll move on to the incinerating toilet standards there in the middle of page 2. The incinerating toilet to be installed at 3330 Shiloh will be a Cinderella Freedom NA. The model is NSF Protocol P157 certified.
That's a funny name.
Cinderella, right?
The Cinderella Freedom in particular is,
Yeah, it's perfect.
it's got a poetic tension to it.
Yeah. The structure will be fitted with proper ventilation to the outside as per manufacturer specifications. It is rated for up to 4 visits per hour. The propane will be supplied from 20-gallon propane tanks and replaced when necessary. It is Community Planning and Development's belief that the proposed incinerating toilet meets the requirements of the regulations and does not pose any risk to environmental health. I'll move to staff response on page 3 here. With the above in mind, Community Planning and Development is requiring that a OWTS to be installed to treat all wastewater remaining after removal of toilet waste. As the property does not have running water, the only additional wastewater generated by the structure would be what is hauled in and used for hand/dishwashing in a bathroom. The wastewater will be plumbed and directed into a vault tank. The tank size of 500 gallons is the minimum required for vault storage tanks and is sized appropriately for temporary use. The tank is intended to be used as a vault to hold all non-toilet wastewater until such time that it is 75% full. Power for the float valve will be provided by a 12-volt battery and charged by a PV array on the property. At which point the owners will pump it into a 4x4 truck-mounted storage tank and dispose of it at an approved RV dump station. The ash produced by the Cinderella incinerating toilet is sterile and will be removed in trash bags. As non-toilet wastewater generated by the property will be minimal due to backcountry use standards, accessibility, and lack of water utility, staff suggests the proposed vault tank of 500 gallons is appropriate and meets the intent of the variance standards for consideration. Further, the wastewater being held and transported is non-hazardous. The risk to public health and environmental health would be considered minimal and not basis for denial of the variance. Staff recommendation. The application details how the property has had no improvements done. As the primary access is a unimproved single-lane road from either Tennessee Creek or Ski Cooper, the property does not have reasonable access for anything other than a high-clearance 4x4 vehicle. The property does not have an existing well or access to a water utility, and the location is inaccessible for well drilling equipment. In addition, the existing access is further limited by privately owned and Forest Service land, rendering it unrealistic to expect road improvement to allow equipment access. The applicant has satisfied all notification requirements, and staff has not received any comment from adjacent landowners in regards to this application. Staff believes the applicant has successfully shown compliance with the state and local variance regulations and has established a basis for alternative system for temporarily occupied backcountry structure. Staff recommends approval of the variance requests, page 4 having motions. And open it up to questions.
Yeah, questions for staff. This one, I noticed in the other ones, they kind of put a number on how many people will be using the property, the structure and the system that, the OWTS systems we're looking at. Was there any input from the applicant as far as how many people will be using this?
I believe Jason and Megan there said it was gonna be 4 people, although there was no official number on their application. This is something we could add to the motion.
Yeah, the engineering wasn't based on a certain occupancy,
It was not, no.
but at 500 gallons, it's a comparison, to the one that you previously did for Mr. Berger.
Right.
Yeah, it's very similar
The
to
gray
that.
water, tank would to me be more appropriately sized for an occupancy of 4, so maybe we'll hear from the applicant what their intentions are.
Cool, yeah.
But it is to serve a backcountry structure with a limited square footage of 600 square feet,
Okay,
so it'll be minimal.
just wasn't sure if that was something that was previously included as part of the application by the applicant. I will ask them next if there are no more questions for staff from me.
Are there regulations regarding the disposal of the ash as far as bags, and does our landfill accept the ash? Is it still considered hazardous material?
It is not considered hazardous material as per regulation 43 recommends, because it is sterilized by the incineration process. It is able to be disposed of in any landfill.
Is that new? Cause 10 years ago,
That's amazing what the manufacturing has brought forward on incinerating and composting both.
10 years ago, you had to drive it to a special depository. Okay.
Regulation 43 states that it can't be disposed of in any trash after the cooling cycle is completed, of course.
Cool. Very cool.
If there's no more questions for staff, let's go ahead and hear from the applicant if they have anything they would like to present to the board.
Yeah, hi. Well, thank you for having us. My name's Megan. This is Jason. Appreciate virtually meeting you all and having this up for hearing. And yeah, Torsten was right. This is really for use of our family of four, two adults and two children, just for our personal use per the regulations on a part-time basis. So certainly everything we've found with respect to the incinerating toilet as well as the holding tank, they should certainly suffice the use for our family of four on a temporary basis.
Okay. Cool, any questions for the applicant from the board?
None from me.
None from me.
Alright, so, just for the record, you are stating that the property will be used solely by a family of four?
That's correct.
Cool, thank you. Alright, I have no further questions, let's go ahead and open up public comment, anyone in the room, anyone online? I see no hands raised, let's go ahead and call for a motion to close the evidentiary portion of the hearing.
I move to close the evidentiary, is it your turn?
It's okay, I understand.
No, we have to all say.
I move to close the evidentiary portion of the hearing.
I will second the motion.
Alright, to a vote?
Aye.
Aye, alright. I would like to call for a motion to either approve or deny the application.
I will I make a motion to approve the variance request, a variance allowing the use of proposed incinerating toilet and installation of a vault tank for gray water collection and off-site disposal for the property known as 3330 Shiloh, parcel number 2479244000008 in Lake County, Colorado.
Seconded.
It's a lot of zeros. To a vote?
Aye.
Aye. Alright, so be it. Thank you guys. Thanks for
Thank you.
joining us
Thank you.
today. Okay,
Whatever do that, just a motion to close if you're ready.
alright, and can we get a motion to close the Board of Health public hearings?
I move to close the Board of Health public hearings.
I'll second the motion.
Alright, to a vote?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Alright, it's 10:12 AM. We will conclude today's Board of Health meeting.
Perfect.